Okay, here's the 740 Cat articulating dump truck that we're going to load. And the first thing I usually do is I make sure the tires are inflated good. It really ticks you off when you come to pick up a machine and the operator was too tired to clean the machine off. So you got to make sure. Everything's good here. There's no rocks, nothing, everything's good. When you're driving it up, I get lined up. I take the machine and I square it right up with the trailer as I'm coming on. And you always want to go slow as you're coming. You just make sure you get the center point of the vehicle lined onto the center of the trailer. And what I usually do is once I hit my ramps, I get out and visually make sure everything is square. I line this pin usually in the center of the trailer, which it's off a little bit. But you can also see the tires. It's about halfway on the tires. Then I come back up and I see which way I got to turn. It's nice if you have somebody in the team too. If you're working with somebody, it's nice because they can usually guide you on, which is really nice. And you just go nice and slow till it gets on. You can kind of feel whether it's straight or solid on there. And you wait until it just barely touches the ramps, put it in neutral, and you're loaded. Now it's time to change this spare 740. I put my ramps up. Make sure you put your chain here. That holds your ramps down so they don't fly off. I got my chain. And I put one. I always go to a solid point in the machine. And hook to the D-ring in the trailer. Then I take another one and I cross them. Especially with rubber tire machines. If it's a solid track machine, they usually secure it a lot better. Rubber tire, they flex. You cross them like this, it pulls the machine right to the middle of the trailer. So then I put the two in the rear, and there's a chain point in the center part of the articulating, and I cross them as well. And then that way there it'll pull down forward. And then I take another chain and I put it right over the center part of the trunnion here. Because whatever the machine weighs, you have to have half the amount of chains what the machine weighs. So this machine weighs 70,000 pounds, so you need 72,000, so you need about 35,000 pounds of chains. And when you're doing a chain, and then I come to the front and I cross, or the back, you know, the front of the machine, and I cross them as well. And then put one chain over the center part. You get the full amount of the use of chain, like 12,000 pounds. Each one of the ones, one chain, indirect hook, is 6,000 pounds. Half of a full chain. And what I always do, the first thing I do is I take my pin. That's the most important thing. You want to make sure, and you see that it isn't in. So what usually draws it in is you just pick up on the plate. You pick up on the panel a little bit. And the first thing I do is I raise that panel up, then you know that's up. It's done. Then I pick the machine up off the ground until it gets to my blocks. And then I put them up. Put my, and you always want to make sure, every Lowboy is different, but most of them have this type of block. So you got a lot of weight on here, so you got different size shims. And I put the shim in. Then I usually go over to the other side. Back over. There's my pin. And I rest it down. Okay. The first thing I'll do is I hook the power takeoff, so I'm not reaching across. And when you're hooking them, you want to make sure that you seat them in a little bit. Don't stop when they start getting tight. You got to screw them right in tight. Otherwise, you won't have flow with the hydraulic fluid. This is your air supply to the trailer. Then your electrical line for the lights. And there's your service line. But the most important thing is you check the height of your load. And what I usually do is get up, because I got to put the mirrors in anyway. So I pull the mirrors in, and then I drop a tape down to the deck of the trailer. Okay, and you got 12 foot high here. So, then you take 12 foot and you add another foot, there's 13, and then 6 inches, which is the legal height limit.